Good morning. Welcome to the online class of Biology class 10th. Today we are going to start with the fourth session of the chapter, that is chapter number 9, excretory system. In the last chapter we had studied in the third session I had explained you about the physiology of urine formation. How does urine formation takes place in the human body, and what actually the kidney plays a very important and vital role it plays. That I had explained you. I had explained the formation of urine that was taking place by various processes. I had explained you about the topic ultrafiltration, that is very important from the board's point of view. Furthermore, I had given you the explanation about selective reabsorption and tubular secretion. So these three processes all together include or constitute the physiology of the urine formation. Then I had explained you about urine. Okay, what is the physical nature of urine? Okay, and about the different points in regard to urine. Then I had explained you how this urination or how this urine is passed out by the process, that is micturition or urination. In regard to that session, I had given you certain homework. There are certain questions that you might have written in your copy. So in today, let us move in today's session. In today's session, we will be basically I'll be winding up the chapter. And today, what all topics are we going to complete? Let's have a quick look on that. So today we will be first of all understanding about regulation of urine output, how the urine output is regulated. Then some other functions of kidney. As we know, apart from urine formation, there are some other functions of the kidney that it plays very well. So this basically includes osmoregulation, acid-base balance in the body, and elimination of abnormal products. So these are the three other functions of the kidney that it plays in our body. In osmoregulation, we will be understanding about regulation of salt content. The salt content in our body is maintained or regulated by the kidney itself. And how does it is it bringing that? That also we will be looking in the same topic. Then regulation of blood volume. The blood volume is also maintained and regulated by the kidneys itself. Then I have already told that the functions of the other functions other than urine output, that is osmoregulation, acid base, means it maintains the acid base balance in the body. So here kidney plays a very important role. And not only this, it also helps in the removal or elimination of harmful or abnormal products that are formed in the body. At the last, we will be studying about dialysis or artificial kidney. This is a process when the kidneys of a person fails to work. In this case, dialysis is carried out, which is also termed as artificial kidney. So let us move ahead to understand this chapter and wind up this chapter. Chapter 9, excretory system. This is a continuation and the last session of this chapter. We will be understanding about regulation of urine output, other functions of human kidneys, where we will be understanding osmoregulation. In osmoregulation, we will be seeing regulation of salt content and regulation of blood volume. The second function will be acid-base balance in the body. The third function will be elimination of abnormal products. And lastly, we will be observing the dialysis and artificial kidney. So let us start with the first topic, that is regulation of urine output. Hormonal control of urine output. This urine output is controlled by the hormones that are produced in the body. Okay, volume of urine formed is under the control of two hormones. There are two hormones which are formed in the body which control the formation or the volume of urine formation in our body. The first hormone is ADH or antidiuretic hormone, and the second one is aldosterone. So these two hormones plays a very important role in the formation of, or to control, these hormones control the formation of urine volume. There are certain substances that increases the output of urine volume. So there are some substances that when we eat or when intake of these substances is done, the urine output is affected. These substances are called diuretics. That will include tea, coffee and alcohol. ADH, you can see here, this ADH is anti-diuretic hormone. So this anti-diuretic hormone is secreted from which part? It is secreted from the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland. Where is pituitary gland located? It is located at the base of the brain, isn't it? So this ADH is secreted from the posterior lobe of the pituitary. It increases water and reabsorption of nephric filtrate into the blood. Already I have told you the nephric filtrate contains enormous amount of blood which is formed after ultrafiltration. So that amount of blood cannot be wasted, and it cannot be eliminated from the body, as that water is very important. Therefore reabsorption is very important, and that is carried out under the action of this hormone. When blood is concentrated, more ADH is secreted by the pituitary gland. Suppose the blood is concentrated, means it is having less water. So more ADH, anti-diuretic hormone, will be secreted, so that more water is absorbed and the osmoregulation, or the water content or water balance of the body, is maintained. It increases the permeability of the walls. It makes the walls of the renal tubule, that is distal convoluted tubule, more permeable. When it will be more permeable, it will allow more water to be absorbed, to be reabsorbed. Okay, that is why it increases. This hormone increases the permeability of, makes it more available, or the walls become more available in order to pass the water through it, water content through it. More water is then reabsorbed into the blood. As I have told you, when this ADH when is this hormone secreted in more amount? When the blood is thicker, or the amount of water in the blood is less. Okay, so when the water, you can see, when this hormone is released, more water is reabsorbed, and the blood and the what you can say, the composition of water becomes normal. The urine excreted is less in quantity and more concentrated. When blood contains more water, less ADH is secreted by pituitary gland. Okay, so when the blood contains, suppose the blood is containing large amount of water, and at that time this anti-diuretic hormone will be secreted less in quantity. Less water is reabsorbed by the renal tubule. At that time, very less water will be reabsorbed by the renal tubule, because already the body is having sufficient amount of blood, sufficient amount of water in the blood. The urine produced is more and dilute, and at this time the urine which is produced will be more dilute, and it will be large in number, and it will be diluted, because already the amount of large amount of water is there in the blood. This condition is called diuresis. Diabetes insipidus, okay, it's also called as the water diabetes, is a rare condition when a person faces excessive urination. It's a kind of, by the name itself, water diabetes. Diabetes insipidus is also termed as water diabetes, in which the content of the water in the body increases too much, large amount, and a person passes too much of urine. Okay, frequent and excessive urination. That condition is called as polyuria. It causes due to deficiency of ADH, that is anti-diuretic hormone. When there is deficiency of, means when this hormone is not produced by the posterior lobe of the pituitary. Okay, so at this condition, under the action of this condition, this diabetes insipidus is resulted. Okay, it is caused due to the deficiency of ADH hormone, which is also, this hormone is also called as vasopressin. The other name is vasopressin. Diabetes insipidus is characterized by frequent urination in large amount of urine, means quick urination at very small intervals, and that with the volume will also be very large. That will be a sign of diabetes insipidus or water diabetes. And increased thirst, when there is frequent urination taking place, loss of water is taking place, then the person will become thirsty very soon. So these are the two signs and symptoms of diabetes insipidus. Third one will be fatigue, dizziness. Okay, the person will become tired very soon. He will be always drowsy. The mind will be in a state of confusion. The skin will be cracked. Aldosterone, the other hormone, is secreted by the cortex of the adrenal gland. Where is this adrenal gland situated? Above the kidneys, on the topical portion of the kidney. Okay, so in the cortex portion of the adrenal gland, this aldosterone hormone is secreted. This hormone regulates the amount of sodium and potassium in the blood. This is done by promoting the reabsorption of sodium ions and elimination of potassium ions by distal convoluted tubules. So this is brought about how this adrenal gland functions. This is brought about by promoting by reabsorption of sodium ions. Sodium ions are reabsorbed and potassium ions are eliminated by the distal convoluted tubule of the nephrons. Gout and kidney stones. Uric acid is less soluble in water, as we all know. Uric acid, urea, ammonia, these are the the waste nitrogenous product which are formed by the biochemical reaction that are taking place in the body. Okay, these need to be eliminated from the body, as these are very poisonous and toxic substances. This uric acid, when we are talking about, this is very less soluble in water. It does not dissolve in water readily. It may sometimes what happens, it crystallizes and it gets deposited in the joints, in between the joints of the two bones. The crystallized salt, the crystallized form, gets deposited in the joints, and this deposition is only termed as gout. It will jam the joint. It means the person will find difficulty in moving the joints. Excessive uric acid and certain salts like calcium oxalate are the source of kidney stones. How are kidney stones formed? These are formed by excessive when large uric acid crystals are formed, or some certain salts like calcium oxalate. When they are formed, okay, they are usually the precursors or the source of kidney stones. They will form the kidney stones. These are formed when the kidneys are not working fully normally. This happens when the kidneys, there are some abnormality or some malfunctioning of the kidney is taking place. At that time, this uric acid formation, uric acid crystallization, or this kidney stone formation takes place. Variation in urine volume. Under normal condition, as we all know, under normal condition, a person produces about 1 to 1.5 liters of urine. Means 1 to 1.5 liters of urine is produced by a person in 24 hours in one day. Volume of urine depends on the variety of, there are various factors on which this urine output or volume of urine depends. It depends on the amount of water intake. It depends upon the season. All those things are there. High protein diets, when a person is taking a diet which is very rich in which is very rich in protein, okay, the urine volume will increase. A person is taking diuretics like tea, coffee, alcohol, etc. So these tea, coffee and alcohol being diuretic, they will stimulate the more urine formation. Volume of urine is directly proportional to the water intake. Large amount of water if you are taking, large amount of urine will be produced. Urine output is higher during the day than in the night. This is a very important point you need to keep in mind. Urine output is higher during the day than in the night because decreased arterial pressure at night. Because the arterial pressure is too much decreased, the body is at rest and the arterial pressure are very low. That is the reason that urine output is low. When you sleep, you are seldom going for urination, whereas in the daytime you may go for urination several times. During summer, very important topic, during summer when temperature is high, there is loss of water. When you may have seen when the temperature is very high, and you are taking lots and lots of water also, but still you urinate, you don't go for urination very quickly. The reason is large amount of water is lost from the body in the form of sweat. Okay, so it gets when this loss of water is taking place in the form of sweat, it is natural that the urine produced is less and that will be more concentrated. Urine output increases during winter. One more thing you might have seen, that during winter the urine output increases. Even though you are taking less water, but you may have to go for passing out the urine so many times. That is the reason behind that is during winter what happens, there is no sweat formation, so there is no loss of water from the body in the form of sweat. Whatever urine means water you have taken in the form of tea, coffee, whatever, that needs to be or water that you have taken, that will only come out from the body, okay, because there is no loss of water by perspiration. That is the basic reason. Person doing more physical work or exercise. So when a person is doing more physical work or rigorous exercise, it is natural that they will sweat, so they will lose more water through sweating, and therefore they will produce less urine. Let's see some other functions of the human kidneys. Kidneys regulate water balance, that is the osmoregulation. Second is the acid-base balance, that is it maintains the pH of the body, and it eliminates the abnormal products from the body apart from removing the urea from the kidneys. Osmoregulation, control of water and salt in blood and fluid is called osmoregulation. So what is osmoregulation? The control of water and salt in the blood and fluid is called osmoregulation. You can write it, you can underline it in your textbook also. There's a definition of osmoregulation. Kidneys, while removing the urea from the blood, regulate salt content as well as volume of the blood and body fluids and keep osmoregulation. So we know the basic function of the kidneys is to remove urea from the blood. Along with that, it also regulates with the salt content. The salt content of the body is also regulated, as well as the volume of blood and body fluids, that is also properly regulated by the kidneys itself. This whole process that is brought about by the kidney is only termed as osmoregulation. Regulation of salt content. How is regulation of salt content brought about? When salt content in the blood goes down, suppose the salt content becomes very low, at that time kidneys produce large volume of hypotonic solution. Kidneys will produce a solution which will be hypotonic in nature. By losing more water, the amount of salts in the blood is restored. So large amount of water is then it is left, okay. By losing more water, the amount of salt, the salt becomes dilute in the blood, and it is restored. It is again restored in the body. When salt content in the blood increases, suppose on the contrary, suppose the amount of salt in the blood, it increases manifold times, okay, what will happen? Kidney will absorb more water. In that case, what will happen? Kidney will start to absorb more water and produce small volumes of hypertonic urine, and at that time it will start to produce small amounts of hypertonic urine. That will have hypertonic urine, means concentrated urine. Regulation of blood volume. Whenever there are chances of decrease in blood volume, either due to blood loss or hemorrhage, suppose there is loss of blood is taking place due to some blood loss, okay, in this case the blood volume needs to be regulated. It may be due to excessive loss of water in diarrhea. This may also be brought about by excessive loss of water that takes place during diarrhea and vomiting. That is the condition called as dehydration. At that time, the restoration of this blood volume is the most important thing the kidneys has to do. So the kidney at this time reabsorb almost whole of the water from the nephric filter. Means whatever nephric filter, the whole of the water is reabsorbed, because this is the time the body is getting dehydrated. It needs water. So from the nephric filter, almost all the amount of water is reabsorbed, and at that time no urination is formed. This may raise concentration of urea, and when all the nephric filtrate from that water is reabsorbed, it means that the urea concentration will increase in the body, and this may prove to be fatal. We all know urea is very harmful, so if urea content will increase, naturally it will lead to death. Therefore, in case of cholera or diarrhea, glucose saline drip or ORS, that is oral rehydration salt, is given to replenish water. Okay, so whenever a person undergoes cholera, means vomiting, continuous vomiting or diarrhea, a person before entering into getting dehydrated, the person is given a supplement of glucose saline drip or either ORS in order so that the water content of the body is replenished. Otherwise, what will happen? The kidneys will start to do their function, means they will start to absorb all the water from the nephric filtrate, which will ultimately result into the increased concentration of urea in the blood. That will be harmful. This restores the salt content and volume of the blood and prevents the accumulation of urea in the body. Acid base balance in the body means the pH of the body. The wall of the distal convoluted tubule reabsorbs hydrogen ions. The basic function of this DCT is to absorb hydrogen ions. It secretes ammonium ions from the blood to the tubular fluid. It will secrete ammonium ion, and that is secreted to the tubular fluid, and that will maintain the pH of the blood. Elimination of abnormal products. Drugs, excessive vitamins, toxic products produced by the bacterial decomposition in the intestine, alcohol and organic acids, these are some of the abnormal products that needs to be removed from our body, and they are brought about, they are removed and eliminated by the here. Kidney plays a very important role in the removal of excess vitamins, useless drugs, the drugs which are not used by the body, those toxic substances that are produced after the breakdown of chemical substances or organic substances. So these are brought about by the kidneys itself. Now let us see some disorders of kidney. One by one we'll be seeing the disorders. The very first one is uremia. Uremia already I have told you in the previous session. That is when there is blood in the urine, or when urea is there in the blood. Okay, uremia means when urea is there in the blood. This is a condition in which the level of urea is increased in the blood. At what time does this happen? Just now I have told you that when the nephric filter, all the nephric filtrate is absorbed, at that time the content of urea in the blood increases. That only results into uremia. The next one is hematuria. Hem means blood. When blood cells are present in the urine, so the color of the urine will be red at this time. In this disease, blood is passed in the urine, which may be resulted due to the infection of urinary tract. It may also result due to kidney stones or due to toxins produced in certain types of fever or induced by certain drugs. Glycosuria. Okay, glycosuria or glucosuria, both are the same. This is in this what happens, glucose is present in the urine. It is a condition when glucose is excreted, large amount of glucose is excreted in the urine because of high glucose level in the blood. This is this we can see during the problem, that is in the disease called as diabetes mellitus, that is also called as sugar diabetes. Then stone formation. Stones are formed due to precipitation or accumulation of uric acids. Already I have told you that precipitation or accumulation of uric acids, when it takes place, or crystals of calcium phosphate or calcium oxalate. Okay, when precipitation of uric acid and accumulation of crystals of calcium phosphate and calcium oxalate are taking place, naturally it will result in the formation of stones. These stones may wherever it will be found, it will offer hindrance for the movement of the liquid through the lumen. Okay, and that will create problems. Kidney failure. It occurs, kidney failure is also called as renal failure. Okay, it occurs due to infection, sometimes due to infection, sometimes due to stone formation, or it means the kidney fails to work. Okay, stone formation or excessive consumption of alcohol may lead to kidney failure. Bile pigments. Presence of bile, large amount of bile pigments makes the urine very dark in color, very dark yellow in color. That will indicate either jaundice, hepatitis, or cirrhosis of liver. Nephritis, it's a bacterial infection. During nephritis, what happens? Inflammation of the urine. inflammation of the kidneys, inflammation of the kidneys takes place. The chronic infection infection causes uremia, means accumulation of urea in the blood. Pyelitis or pyelonephritis. It is again the inflammation of pelvis region of the kidney. You can see here the difference between nephritis and pyelonephritis. In nephritis, it is due to bacterial infection and the whole kidney is inflamed. Whereas in pyelonephritis, the pelvis region, the pelvis region is inflamed, or inflammation of the pelvis region of the kidney takes place. So whenever these problems arise, the kidneys do not function properly. At this time, dialysis means the kidneys, when kidneys are not doing their work, means through artificial functions, the blood is purified, or the urea or the toxic substances are removed. That is brought about by dialysis or through artificial kidney. If one kidney is damaged, we all know we are in our body, we are having two kidneys. If one kidney, suppose it is damaged, or if it is removed from some reason, the other kidney alone is sufficient for excretory needs. Means the other kidney can do all the functions of excretion. The person can lead a normal, and the person can also lead a normal life. But suppose both the kidneys undergo failure of both of the kidneys, that would certainly lead to death. Under that condition, what is done? In such case, the blood of the patient is filtered through a dialysis machine or dialyzer. It removes urea and excess salts, means whatever is not needed from the blood, that is removed by this dialyzer. It is also called artificial kidney or kidney machine. Artificial kidney consists of cellophane tube. Now this is the point that you need to keep in mind. What does this dialyzer or kidney machine consists of? It is made up of cellophane tubes, which is suspended in circulating bath fluid. These cellophane tubes are suspended in circulating. The fluid keeps on circulating around this cellophane tube, circulating bath fluid. That is identical. This bath fluid is identical to the normal blood, but this is without urea. The radial vein of the patient is connected to the cellophane tube. So the radial vein is connected to the cellophane tube. So from the radial vein, the blood will come. That is rich in urea. That will be rich in urea and other excess of salts. That will be rich in that. So that will be brought about in that cellophane tube. And since this cellophane tube is surrounded or suspended in circulating bath, that is identical to normal blood, what will happen? The urea and the excess of salt, they will pass into this fluid, to this bath fluid, making the blood free from the urea and other harmful substances. The radial vein of the pump of the blood is connected to the cellophane tube through a blood pump. The blood of the patient is pumped into the cellophane tube and returned through vein attached to other end of the tube. The substances from the blood diffuse through the cellophane. Those substances will start to diffuse through the cellophane tube into the bath fluid. That will start to pass into the bath fluid. Nitrogenous waste products, excess of salts and other excretory products filter out from blood into the bath fluid. The purified blood passes into the body through the vein. The purified, I'm again repeating this. The purified blood passes into the body through the vein. Now this was all about the topic for today. There are some homework questions that I have selected. You are supposed to write these questions in your copy. Let us see. The very first question is, what is meant by uremia? Already I have explained you. You need to find out the answer and write it in your copy. What is meant by uremia? The very next question, that is question number 2, is what is an artificial kidney? I'll repeat. What is an artificial kidney? This is question number 2. Then question number 3, how do kidneys help in osmoregulation? So here you have to write the procedure basically of osmoregulation. What are the steps? How do kidneys help in osmoregulation? And the last question, that is question number 4, is why the frequency of urination is generally more in winter than in the summer. So this is all about the 4 questions that you need to find out the answers and write it in your copy. So that is all for today's class. Please go through the chapter, go through the topic, go through the lecture very well. From my side, that the topic is completed. In the live class, I'll be telling you the questions that you are supposed to do from this chapter in your copy. Okay, so this is all for the day. Have a nice day ahead. Good day.